Pedersen, oh, it's 1-0 Blues! What a header that is! Christian Pedersen with a bullet header.
It's then floated towards the back post, Jukovic in there, Jukovic! Oh, what a header! This man is on red-hot form at St Andrews at the moment.
And it goes again towards the towering Zigic. Oh, confusion and Martins has surely scored the winning goal for Birmingham City.
Hello and welcome back to the Blues Talk podcast. Dale Moon and myself, Callum Denning, looking back on our still unbeaten run in the Championship. 4 matches since we last spoke and an FA Cup exit, but one that we can take pride away from. As well as that, we're joined by Maxime Colin and we're joined by the new interim head coach of Blues Women to take on the Quickfire Questions. It's all on the way here on the Blues Talk podcast.
The Blues Talk podcast with Dale Moon and Callum Denning.
Right, Dale, we're back. Last time we were here, we were midway through an unbeaten run. We'd just beaten Barnsley 4 league games later, and it's still going strong.
Yeah, it's a bit of a weird one, really, because obviously we've had the defeat to Leicester in the Cup. But yeah, you're quite right. When you think of how many games it's been since we last sat here, you look through the calibre of opposition, tricky away games, at home to Brentford, and good that they've got a resilience about us and just keeps this momentum rolling on, sets up the end of the season nicely. And I think as everyone in the same mind frame, really, that we should be far enough away from the bottom 3. With the amount of games we've still got to play, it's a nice buffer between ourselves and the relegation zone. Not quite close enough, or as close as we'd like to be to the top 6. So they'll give it a good go. Every player you speak to is telling us the last few weeks that it's a case of let's see if we can go on a run, and what happens. But nice that we're sitting here 10 games away from the end of the season and relative, touch wood, a comfortable position away.
Listen, nothing's set in stone.
No.
Take it on a game-by-game basis. You never know what might happen. Still have to play for.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you just hope that you can finish the season on a high. You don't want to fizzle it out. I hate it when, how I was talking the other day, how long do you wait until the phrase they're on the beach starts to pop up? Because, the mid-table teams' form do tend to drop off.
Yeah.
Not a lot to play for. The ones at the top obviously have a lot. Chasing promotion at the bottom, as you've seen in recent weeks, are absolutely scrapping for their lives. The results down there have been unbelievable in the past few weeks. So, yeah, just hope that we can still have that pride in performance and results. And I'd love a top 10 finish. Would be nice.
It's been a while since we've had one of those. I think Pep's put it quite nicely in his recent press conference as well. How long has it been since we've not been fighting relegation going into the last 2 or 3 games of the season?
Yeah.
Even last season.
Well, you think last season was going to be the one, and yet. Yeah, obviously with the stuff we were fighting against off the pitch and stuff, and it'd be nice, wouldn't it? I mean, for me, it's been a season of what ifs. I mean, you've seen the impact that Scott Hogan's made in January. We've seen when you have 3 fit centre halves all vying for places, and I think the gap between the 3 of them's got closer, especially in recent weeks. I mean, Harley Dean is the one that's been left out, but since he's come back in, he's been at the top of his game.
Don't
again.
envy Pep having those choices.
Yeah, it's tough, but you just start to think, what if you'd have had Hogan or a striker like him in the start of the season? And what if we could have kept that centre-half partnership fit and healthy over that crucial Christmas period where there's lots of games? You start to have a little look up. And what if the Championship officials are as good as they should be? Because I do feel like, as it's been publicised, we've been let down a little bit this year.
Pep spoke about VAR. We'll talk about it a little bit later on as well. Our first ever, Dale, this week. VAR check, a moment in history. But listen, we'll come on to that. And also, we'll talk about the return of a man who has been very, very missed, I think, by us, by the fans, by everyone, really, for the past 9 months. But he's back, and he's back in style. More on that later. But let's go back, then, to that first game after we last spoke, the Brentford game. Scott Hogan against his former club. Been on a ratio of goal per game until then. Disappointed he didn't get it against Brentford, but Juki's there. So
yeah, it was. This was the toughest test. I remember the run up to the game. Everyone saying we've been on a great run, but the Brentford one was one where you think, right, this is how good are we? How good have we been? Because Brentford at the time were free scoring,
flying up the top.
You looked at the front 3 were dangerous, although it was 2 of the 3 were fit to play. Emiliano Marcondes had to come in, but still got Ben Rama and Ollie Watkins who have got goals in them. And actually, for the first half an hour, we were phenomenal. When you take into account the tempo of the game, the intensity of the match, calibre of opposition, it was the perfect setup. And get that early goal through Lukas Jukovic. And you think we're on our way. The only blotch in the game is the way we conceded. Ethan Pinnock's goal, he just peels off to the far post and nods it in. But you take a point against Brentford at a high-flying side. It kept the momentum going, and it showed that we can go punch for punch, toe-to-toe with one of the promotion candidates.
I don't want to sound like we're sat here blaming referees, but it's a blatant handball in the second half as well.
Yeah,
penalty, and you fancy Blues to go on and win the game if we get that.
Pinnock involved again, isn't it? His ball just over his shoulder to the far post. And I think Rico Henry chests it down. It pops up awkwardly for him, but his right arm's out wide. It's
as a natural position as you can get it.
It's not tucked in. It's as clear as day. The whole stadium goes up. And I think you can get a gauge of players' reaction, supporters' reaction. I mean, supporters will always appeal. Players' reaction in particular will tell you a lot about whether it was or wasn't a decision. And everyone could see it was handball. But it's the story of the season, unfortunately.
Well, we move on. Sheffield Wednesday at home. A lot of interest on the touchline to start with, as it was at Hillsborough, but all very amicable.
Didn't see the handshake.
Yeah, we had it on Blues TV.
I know there was a handshake. I was walking from the studio to
doing the track
press box. Yeah, so I didn't see the actual handshake. But I mean, it's one of those weird games where they went with a flat back five. I haven't seen a flat five for a while. I think we've made a substitution later on in games to go to a back five when we brought Wes and Harley on. Some stage. Bristol City or somewhere where we've gone.
It was Bristol City, and then it was the game after.
To start a game with a flat back five, and it wasn't 3 centre halves and 2 wing backs. It was 5 across the back. So they had a clear game plan. They were on a torrid run, lots of pressure, and they came for a point. But actually, it turns into quite an expansive game, and I just never felt we had full control of it, even though we got ourselves ahead for a really bizarre own goal. We never looked like we hit any stride, any pattern. It wasn't that slick football we've seen. We didn't really have dominate the ball. And Sheffield Wednesday were always in the game. And again, I think afterwards you come away not just in awe of Scott Hogan's goal scoring abilities to get us out of the sticky stuff late on, but Lee Camp makes a crucial save again in the game.
You want to talk resilience. 2 big saves from Campy. Big fan of the podcast, of course. There's the one-on-one, and then there's the one from that volley as well, just outside the area. Unreal. Yeah,
it's the first time Fletcher had probably got the better of Mark Roberts, who played really well. Is it Wickham? Sorry, is it Wickham?
It was Connor Wickham,
wasn't it? Yeah, he was throwing a big lad as well. I didn't realise actually just how big he is. He stands next to Mark Roberts and then 2 giants, but. That's a good save. The Murphy one for me is more important. I mean, he's got half a pitch to run into, and he just has too much time to think about it. It reminds me of a Cameron Jerome finish where he has to think about it, and he's no good. He's instinctive. He looked lethal, and I think because he's striding forward, it's like 5 seconds.
He's got a good 40 yards to think about what he's going to do.
Thinking about what he's going to do. And Lee Camp stands tall, though, and he stretches his arms up in the air, and he's quickly down to his left-hand side and makes a crucial save at a time in the game where it would have given Sheffield Wednesday a bit of breathing space. So Scott Hogan's finish is fantastic.
Unbelievable volley, isn't it?
It's the timing of the run as well for me. As soon as that ball's forward towards Lukas Jukovic, he's on the move, anticipating it, and Juki's knocked down, and Hogan, I mean, he's still got work to do. I don't back, with all due respect to everyone else in the squad, I don't back anyone else to score that. It's still a difficult volley to execute. It's nodded down, it's across his body. He's gone with his instep to guide it into the far corner. Beautiful finish, and we are rescued with a point.
I think it's almost what we've been missing, isn't it, for half a season? I mean, obviously the lads who have been out there have put in some fantastic performances. That little bit of pace, that run behind the defence, that reading of the game that we had last season with Shea Adams is now back in with Scott.
Yeah, absolutely, and everyone will look to his goal ratio, and we'll move on to the games where he scored at QPR. But actually, we've always said here, he offers a lot more than that. He gives us a plan B, a different option, and he keeps defences guessing. He can go tight to Lukas Jukovic and try and wrestle him if you want. You'll come out second best. And then if you want to play a high line and try and press us, condense the pitch, well, Scott Hogan's always on the move, and he's an intelligent mover as well. He's got a brain. There's always a thought to his moves. I was thinking back to the Leicester game, particularly in the first half. He's arching his runs, and he's trying to play down the channels and split the fullbacks and the centre halves. And he's it's been a massive addition. Yeah, his goals have helped, but he offers so much more than that.
And his partnership with Juki, it feels like it's been going for years. The reading that they've got of each other.
It's just because they have to play their natural games. You're not asking Lukas Jukovic, which we were early in the season, to do something that doesn't come naturally to him. He's 29, 30 years old, Lukas Jukovic. He knows by now what he is. He's not going to change. We can't all of a sudden turn him into a striker that's going to start chasing things down the channel and stretching teams. And Scott Hogan's the same. Scott Hogan's made a living out of running in behind teams, being in behind, and he plays between the goalposts. Whenever that ball goes out wide, it's not a coincidence that he's turned home 2 or 3 of his goals from inside the 6-yard box, because he knows that's where he has to be to do the damage, and it's instinctive. And I don't think you can coach some of the things that we've seen from Scott Hogan. Right,
we move on then. London door header to the Den. Not one that's going to live long in the memory, but still a very impressive point, a formidable Den.
Yeah, always difficult to go. I think I tweeted before the game, a midweeker in February, the weather's horrible, the pitch is going to be worse. Millwall's obviously difficult. They make life hard for you. And under Gary Rowett, credit to him, they're well organised and well drilled. We know what he's all about. A manager that suits going to a side who have to play on the counter-attack and be defensively solid first and foremost. And he's gone in there and got a tune out of those players. And so we knew it was going to be tough. It's a game of few goal-scoring chances, but we have the ball in the back of the net. Yet again, we come away ruining an official's decision where I've seen the video 3-4 times since, and it's just baffling.
Work it out. Harley Dean's fouled, if anything, surely.
Because it's quite easily start getting really irate and raged with it, because it really, really winds me up the way the referee stood there, and the camera angle shows the referee's view. He cannot possibly call for Harley Dean. Because a defender mistimes a header, it doesn't mean that he's been nudged in the back or pushed in the back.
I can't, even with his field of view, I can't work out what he's seeing. You were on the gantry, so you had the aerial view. I had a similar view almost.
He's guessed because the defender misjudges it.
Yeah.
And he's gone up early, and as he's on his way down,
stumbles a bit.
He glances the header. He's then guesses, well, he can't have done that naturally. He must have got a nudge in the back to force him forward. He simply hasn't. Harley Dean's got his right arm in front of him, jumped to try and get some elevation, kept his right arm there to try and flick it on. There is absolutely nothing there, but I'm sick and tired of sitting on this podcast and sitting in the stands in the TV studio watching games and us talking about the lack of quality when it comes to simple and basic refereeing decisions. I know everyone points to the Middlesbrough one. I can see the Middlesbrough one actually as, okay, it's a head injury. Yes, he should have stopped it a lot earlier because he let it play on. But if he genuinely believes that is a head injury, he's looked over his shoulder, he has to stop it. I understand that. It's poor performance from the referee because he should have just stopped it rather than trying to play on. The rest of them, handball at Brentford's ridiculous. The Millwall one's pathetic. It's been 3 or 4 in the season. Alvaro Jimenez got raked
that's the one
in the
I was
face.
going to come to.
It's
like Danny Bart.
It's just, I don't subscribe to the conspiracy art. It's the EFL hating Blues and stuff, and I don't think there's a conscious bias. They're just poor. Their standard is just poor. Mini rant.
I don't think that's an outrageous accusation either this season. I know obviously the club have met with the PGMOL to discuss this. We've aired our grievances on Twitter as well, particularly after the Middlesbrough incident. It's been far too common this season.
Too many. And Lukas Jukovic, actually, even last night at Leicester, he's getting yellow carded and fouls given against him. You're just thinking, what are you seeing? What are you seeing here? But listen, I don't want to waste any more.
You and me on the gantry yesterday, just in pure disbelief at some of what was going on.
You have to sort of laugh at it. It's ridiculous at times. I see him and I don't think there's a bias. I just think they're just poor at what they're doing. They need to sort it out. But anyway, one of those things.
Well, let's come on to another one. QPR away. Scott Hogan should have had an opportunity for a hat-trick.
Well, yeah, I know I said I don't want to talk about it anymore, but this is where we are again. The following game. Yeah, another game where everyone was aware of QPR's attacking threat. Only Brentford and Leeds scored more, but only Luton have conceded more, which suggests a wide-open game. They play expansive football, look to outscore teams, a bit like Blackpool under Holloway a few years ago. If you score 4, we'll try and score 5. So, fine. We were defensively nice and solid, and again, Scott Hogan running off defenders gets us in front. Maxime Colin with a lovely ball. They try and play a high line. It's the young defender Masterson who's just too deep. He come in as a late replacement for the skipper, didn't he? But Hogan then, prods it beyond the keeper, gets us ahead. Great start. And then in a 5-minute spell, you get at half-time, you 1-0 up. 5-minute spell just turned the game on its head, didn't it? This Christian Pedersen up against Brighter Say Samuel, who is their all the talk pre-game about Iberieze, actually, Brighter Say Sammy was the one we should have a little look at, because bags of pace. And talking to the analyst lads, 2 years ago he was very raw, very quick, but with the ball at his feet looked a little bit awkward. Actually, now he's turned himself into a really good player, and they were always looking to feed him. And he's so difficult, because if you go tight and press him, you've left a lot of space with you and behind. If you stand off him, now he's running at you with pace. So difficult one for Christian Pedersen to navigate, but he done well in the main. The problem was out on that left-hand side, it's a free kicks given, and again it's poor. It's a back post headed down and turned in at close range, which is annoying. And then a little 1-2 at the same side, Pedsy's side again. They play round him. Jordan Hugo gets across Mark Roberts again. He hardly put a foot wrong. It's a smart finish, and then you're staring down the barrel. You're 2-1 down, 20 minutes to go, 15 minutes to go, thinking, is this the game that we finally get beat? But
enter Scott Hogan.
This is, everyone talks about how resolute this team are, but we've got a goal scorer in the ranks. And set piece. They highlighted that there was a frailty among the QPR defending from set pieces. Gardner with the flick on, Hogan there at the right place to turn it in, and then we should have had a third. But yeah, it's
we've had our grievances about officiating in this division. So we'll move on. Listen, coming up, we'll talk a bit about, as we speak, it's last night, as this goes out 2 nights ago, Leicester at the King Power. An impressive, especially in the first half, performance against a team fighting for a Champions League place. We'll discuss that in a moment. And also, we'll discuss our number 6 returning to the fold. But let's have a word with one of the top performers this season. In fact, not just this season, since we signed him in 2017. Yeah,
Maxime Colin joining us on Blues Talk. Maxime Colin's a player who, when he first joined, I don't think many Blues fans would have been too aware of him. I know there'll be one or two who'll say, he was at Brentford and he's a decent fullback. But even for me, when we caught wind that he was coming in on transfer deadline day, you'd have to do a bit of a Google search and a bit of research into who he is. But, I mean, what an immaculate performer. One of the fittest in the squad. So consistent. Very rarely below a 7.5, 8 out of 10 every week. He had to have partnerships up ahead of him. Of course, it was Hotter and Dan Crowley early in the season. Jeremy Bayer's come in as well. Gary Gardner sometimes is forced out on that right-hand side. But everyone was talking early on about how good Wes Harding has been. He's unfortunate that he's found himself behind Maxime Colin, given how good he's been. But yeah, good to pick the brains of Max. It's a fantastic story of how the French academy system works and schooling system works, and how he's almost been an unknown quantity in his own country, let alone here. But yeah, great character. And you had a little chuckle, didn't he? So he was good to have on the podcast.
So from the man himself, Maxime Colin on the Blues Talk podcast.
The Blues Talk podcast.
Maxime Colin, thank you for joining us here on Blues Talk. You were telling me you listen to every episode.
It's big in France, isn't it, the podcast?
Huge French following here on Blues Talk. But it's just a good opportunity to get you in the season and have a more relaxed chat about your career, how you came to playing professional football and ended up here at the best club in the world. So
Good.
So Max, take us back to the very beginning of your footballing career, when you first started kicking a ball and when you sort of fell in love with football.
So I started really early, 6 years old. Like my dad was a coach at the local football club. So he was like 2 minutes walk from my house. So I started there. Played there until 13 years old, and then I ended up like playing slowly, like always like in small team, but always a step better than each year. So I've done quite many clubs around my village, like maybe 5 or 6 clubs, but always like one step. And then the big jump was when I signed. So someone saw me play when I was 18 years old. And he said to me, let's come to our club. It was a young professional club, Boulogne-sur-Mer. It was in 2nd division, and they just got promoted. So it was really like a professional club, but really like low standard, I would say. Yeah. So they say, do you want to come with our B team? So it was not even with the main team, just to like have a try. And in France, when at 18 years old, you have like you need to have a degree, and then once you have this degree there, like you can work. So my mom said, you need to have this degree, and then maybe you can after like try your luck. So as soon as I had this degree, and then this guy came and said, do you want to come to our club? So I tried my luck. Because it was a professional club. I tried. So the first year I played with the B team, always in the B team. but did a good year, and then the following year the manager said, "Oh, you will come with a professional group now." And after five game in, the right back was injured, and I came in, and then never left that.
So you were playing alongside studying for a degree, or
who's that?
so
No, you had to study for a degree whilst
exactly.
playing
while
football.
playing?
Yeah. Oh yeah, and even though I played 2 years in Boulogne, then 2 years in Troyes, which was in first division, so which was really a lot more professional.
Yeah.
I was still studying. It was still part time, so it wasn't. I was actually wanted to be a physio before to become a football player. So I in France I still have my first year of physio. So
Can you go back and do that?
well, after 5 years you lose the degree. So now that I've been away for 5 years, I lost it. But if the football an injury or something would have happened, I would have come back to that. But the football it was always a dream, but I never think I would have make it. It was in some part of my head, but when I was young, because I don't come from a school from football like Jeremy is coming from. All the French players who become professional come from a school. So since 12 years old, you're already in a school. You're already ready. It's not like in England, in France. It's since 12 years old, you go to a special school, sports school to become professional. So it's really very young. So I end up arriving in the professional world only at 18 years old, which was a bit old for that. But I make my way through. But it was a long way before that. So that's why when I see a Jude Bellingham at 16, being there, it's mad. When I see when I was at 16 years old, it's unbelievable. I was playing a local in a.
Yeah, it's crazy.
No.
It's the same as when we had Mark Roberts sat in that very chair. When you were telling that story, Mark Roberts, obviously a player who was having to go from non-league club to non-league club, slowly making his way up the pyramid. Do you think that's benefited you now?
100%. I wouldn't change anything. I've learned a lot of things, not mainly football, but in the general life. I wouldn't have if I would have come from the school. I think so. Very happy to come to make my way in alone, because it was really coming from so far. You just gradually go up and up and up and up, and I wouldn't change anything.
Was there any players that you played with that also made it as a professional when you were coming up?
No. Everyone that I know who become professional near my area in north of France, they all come from the big club around the local village. So no, I don't know anyone coming from. Then you have well known Mathieu Valbuena in France. He's quite famous. He come from the same but not from the north of France. He come from south, so I don't know any. But I know a few of them, like Franck Ribéry as well. He come from nowhere, and then he end up playing. So there is few examples, obviously, but not many.
So when you go home, are you you haven't got a church named after you or a bench or anything? Are you not the
Maxime
sportsman
Colin
who made it out?
No, I look after the small club where I used to play before. Anzin Saint-Aubin, it's called. It's where my parents still live. So
nice.
I'm look after them. So they actually came to the game against Cardiff. So it was 80 people of them coming to.
Nice.
So I managed everything. It was a 2-day trip. It was 30 children coming here. So we have a tournament. So now I look after them. We do a lot of events, and I don't forget where I come from. This is a good thing as well. When you come from all this club, you get a lot of good contact with everyone, and keep in touch.
And then the French boy leaves for Belgium.
Yeah, then this was a big step. So when I was in France, I was really the young player. I still make the French team, so we did the World Cup under 20. So it was a big thing with Griezmann, Lacazette. It's where really everyone started to know me. But still, because it's really a lot. The mentality in France is really where is he from? So if you're from Lille, then normally you should be in the club of Lille, and then get professional with them, and then so. But because I come from nowhere, it was a bit where is he from? So, in France, I wouldn't say that I have a big name or
reputation.
A big reputation. They don't really know me. They don't really know me. But once I get my move to Anderlecht, then it was a big step forward where people start to say, okay, then they start to know me, and Anderlecht is the biggest club in Belgium. So then I would say it was the big step forward. I had the opportunity to go to this very good club. I still keep a lot of good memory there. Played the Champions League, played the Europa League. I was still 22 at the time, amazing. So it was amazing. Coming at Arsenal, playing Dortmund, Galatasaray, playing Dynamo Moscow away. Like it was.
Did anyone give you the runaround? Did any players?
No,
you can be honest, Max.
Yeah, no, it was okay. I didn't
dominated.
I didn't play. I didn't play every game. Okay. I came on against Dynamo Moscow, playing against Valbuena at the time, who is in Dynamo Moscow. So it was, and also like I learned the way how to win, because like during the season you lose maybe only 4 games. Right. So like when you lose a game in Anderlecht, it's a big crisis almost. Like you're not allowed to lose. So it was really it was a big thing for me, like to see how like you lose a game. It's really a big. It's
a problem if you the panic sets in.
It's really like something like they're not used to. Like like I said, you lose like. 3-4 game a season. So then it's I played also the final of the Belgium Cup, so it was also a big thing for me at the time. So Anderlecht was a big step forward. Training ground amazing, like a big club. So it's really where I learned really what it was a step forward in the club that I've done. So signed a long deal there, but then Brentford came and. I decided to come to your lovely England.
How was that for culture shock? The weather and everything over here?
Oh, it's kind of the same, because north of France, Belgium, it's kind of the same. So this wasn't a big shock, and actually it wasn't so far from me. Like London, it's only 2 hours of train from Lille. So I always play around. Still now I'm not so far from where I used to be. So even though I don't come back so often, but. It wasn't such a big shock. It wasn't such a big shock, but So my aim was to come to play to the Premier League. So I was thinking maybe with the Championship it would be a bridge easier to come. So that's why I signed for Brentford. First year was really good. I had a little injury with my knee, which I was out for a few months, but then did a good season. Then I had an opportunity maybe to go to Watford, who was in the Premier League at the time. So it was really a big miss for me, I would say, at the time. So I missed my moves, and then I stayed in Brentford.
Did they agree a move for you to go?
So my agent was going there to talk and everything, but. The fee wasn't agreed together, so
that didn't happen.
So it didn't happen. Also, like I've signed a 4-year deal in Brentford, and I only stayed. It was only the first year, so then I stayed a second year. Played 40 games. Then it was really a full season. Really enjoyed my time in Brentford. Lots of good memory there. I played almost like when I was fit. I played every game. I did good performance as well. So, and then people in England started to know me, and then I came to Birmingham City. Here you come.
Did you obviously Brentford pride themselves on their recruitment and doing their homework on players? Did you know much about Brentford at all when?
Not at all. Actually, when I signed. So my agent called me and says that I heard Bradford. so then I went online when he told me this. I said Bradford. I saw it was
League 2 football.
Yeah, it was a League 1, I think at the time. At the time it was League 1. So then I was thinking, League 1, 3rd division. I said, it's strange to go to 3rd. Why is he calling me to go to 3rd division in England?
Maybe that's where he rated you at the time.
Maybe, I don't know. So I was a bit like, I will wait and see. Then he called me back, and then I say, but this club, it's like a 3rd division. He said, no, it's a 2nd division. It's in London, everything. It's at Brentford. I say, didn't have a clue about the club, everything. Didn't have a clue of anything. So went to visit the training ground. Was a big shock as well, because the training ground is really not.
It's quite small, not a big building.
It's really not. And coming from Anderlecht was a big. With Anderlecht was a brand new. So it was But then once well, this is all the exterior, but once you really meet the people, when you go a bit deeper in what they are doing and everything, then I really get seduced, and then I sign with them. But at the beginning, coming there, didn't know anything about them.
And yet I remember sitting in this very training ground when we heard we were signing. It was like another one's coming in, another player. I was
Another
like,
Brentford player.
Okay, another Brentford player. And it's Maxime Colin. So we were then Googling Maxime Colin. I thought, okay. And brought you in what was a crazy transfer window. There was that many players, I think, joining the same window as you did.
Last day of the market, it was talking like the last maybe 5-6 days before only, so it was really late as well. Brentford didn't really want to let me go at the time, the thing is Brentford, like they always sold the best player after each market, so I was starting to get a bit tired of that. Like you do a good season and you think, oh, let's build for next season with we keep the best, and then we add some player, and then you build, and then you can push. But every year they were ending selling all the best players, so I was a bit tired of this. So I really pushed my move. I really pushed my move to Birmingham, which was in Birmingham it was the opposite. Like Jota for me was a big thing, because in Brentford he was really the best player. Everyone was thinking, oh, let's if Jota stay in Brentford, then we will build a good team and everything. So then he left, and funnily he signed here, so you could tell the difference with a club who want to sell and the other one who want to buy the best element. So it didn't work out really well for him here, but you could tell that the club want really to.
The ambition was there.
The ambition to get promoted is there, so that's why, and I still think that the ambition is here today. So that's why I resigned here as well in Birmingham, and you will have my name again for maybe a while.
Stuck with you now, aren't we? We can't get rid of him for now.
Yeah. So, let's see.
How do you sort of reflect on your time here up to this point? I mean, you've gone straight in, I think, and played a hell of a lot of games in the few seasons that you've been here as well. So, which is obviously a big positive.
Over it's only been, let's say, 2 years and a half, but I've played over 100 games now. So it's I really loved it. Since the beginning, I've done some good performance, and everyone was on board with me as well. So I did a good start. So which was, it's always better like that. People start to know you, and really. Obviously, the first year with a lot of new manager, it was a bit hard. Like I said, I believe if you want to get promoted, you need to have a stability, keep your main player, then build around them, and then get promoted. Like Sheffield United did, like coming from League One as a fifth in the Premier League. It's really a model of success. So that's why the first year, the stability unfortunately wasn't there. I know that it's what we are trying to do, like to build a team. So I still hope we can manage to do that. And like I said, I've committed a lot more to this club, because I still believe we can achieve this. And very very happy. Love the area. My family is happy here. Everything is good. Just need to go to get back to the Premier League, and it would be really perfect.
Yeah, like you say, with so many games, and in recent weeks, I know we were talking just before we came on about having to play through sometimes little niggles, little injuries and stuff, and that's been the case for you in recent months as well.
Yeah, so I've been the last 4-5 weeks. I had a problem with my groin, a little bit like Robo and Harley had last year. They had to have a surgery during the summer, so it was a big worry for me when I wake up in the morning and I felt this. All the symptoms was similar to what they've got. Luckily for me, it wasn't as bad as they, and with a lot of rehab. So it's been I would say 5 weeks. I've done rehab every day to get better and to really. It was a case of, do I play with the pain and not being as sharp as I could be, or I stop and I just stay in the gym and get fitter and then come back. So played Nottingham. I remember being really in pain. But then because we've been under unbeaten run as well, I wasn't at my best, but the team was still performing okay. So if it would be another case, maybe I would have need to stop. But because the team was doing okay, then I just carry on playing with the pain, which wasn't great at all. So I wasn't at my best, but luckily the rehab really worked. And against Millwall, the week of Millwall, I already felt at training I was a lot better. Then play Millwall was fine. So I was like, oh, is this behind me, or he will come back? And so then I wait a little bit, but then the next week after Millwall was no reaction, nothing, and then played Queen's Park and was feeling very, very good. So
touch wood.
Yeah, touch wood. I think it's behind me now. I'm still really aware about it, and I don't jump and say, but I think it's behind me, and I look for so. It's also something very good, because now it's almost like I've been injured and out of the team, and then it's almost like I'm really, like, when I'm on the pitch, I'm really fresh and I'm really happy to be back, and which I haven't left, but so it's a bit funny, it's a bit a paradox, but happy to be pain free now and to play this 10, 12, 11 game before the end of the season with a full blast.
Weird question. Does your physio background kind of help you know your limits a bit more when it comes to stuff like that?
Could you,
because you're qualified,
diagnose yourself?
So I know quite a bit, but it's I'm still,
leave that to the expert.
I'm still trusting them, and I haven't been injured a lot since I'm here in Birmingham, so it's a big credit to them as well. I speak a lot with them about the physio, with the master, everyone, and so I try to be the fittest possible for this league, because it's a main attribute for with the number of game you've got. If you fit, it's already a big thing to go through the season.
Yeah, I remember watching pre-season running. Maybe this summer or last summer, it was Seds can run, can't he? Like you said, and maybe Hotter, the three that were powering forward. So you clearly pride yourself on your conditioning.
Oh I'm always in a good. I've always been a good runner. I used to do like cross country when I was young and everything. So no, my physique always been I've always been a good quality for me. So But you can always improve. So like I'm already thinking about this summer. Like I need to work on this and this, and make sure that next year we're still even better and everything. So this was a bad period. But hopefully now I see the end of the tunnel.
On a more positive note, 6 assists for the season, Maxime Colin. Look at him sitting there, right?
Yeah. So this was really like big. I remember still, and during the pre-season, I was speaking with Pep, and I was also like reflecting to my time in Birmingham the last 2 years, and it was really one main objective. My main objective, I would say, was really to give a lot of assists, because the way how we wanted to play and the way how Birmingham wanted to play, and also the modern fullback need to attack now. So. I've been working a lot of it, so a lot of work, a lot of thought about it, and now I'm 6 assists, so I still want to add a few more. I don't take the set pieces as well, so it's a
little wink there, by the way.
It's a good record for a fullback. If you look at the other fullback in the championship,
no other fullback has 6 yet.
Right fullback? No, I don't think so.
Okay.
No.
We'll have a look at that.
You can check
We'll
that.
check
But
that.
I know 6 assists and a goal. It's quite good for a fullback normally. So, you can always improve. You can improve everything. But this was one of the things that I wanted to improve. So I'm quite glad for this. Yeah.
Where was your one goal this season?
Blackburn at home, 1-0. Header, back post.
Oh, what a move!
Yeah,
what a great move!
yeah,
you
yeah,
headed in from like 6 yards out.
Yeah, no, it was a great. It was at the beginning of the season where we were playing a bit more football, and that was a goal who summed up quite well the way how we were playing at the time.
Yeah, amazing. Did I read that you were a striker as a kid?
Yeah.
So there's a predatory instinct. Predatory instinct.
Yeah. No, I was a striker when I was young, and then around 16, I went for right back. But no, it's funny. I remember. So I used to play. So they used to do in France like a selection of the best player of the North Pas-de-Calais. We call it. It's like a region.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a selection with a lot of players wanted to be in this team, and so it was a lot of different team. And then in my team, the coach said, one of the right back was supposed to be here, but he's sick or something. Do someone want to become to play right back just for the test and not even for the selection? So it was for the test and everything. I don't know why, like a little voice inside me say, you need to raise your hand. So I just raised my hand strangely, like because I was playing number 10 at the time, scoring some goal and everything. So I just raised my hand, played right back for the test, play amazingly, being selected for the squad. And being selected for the squad, then playing right back, and then people seeing me playing at this post, and it's playing right back that then I did my career. So it's just a little moment.
Your career could have been so different.
I could have not make the selection make the selection and be striker, scoring goal, and then be like Vardy. But so it's you. When you see the career, the beginning of my years, I was really like into football, like need to play game and everything. Now, like I'm a bit older, and I start to look at what I've done as well. And it's sometimes in your career like that, you have few moments where you need to it's a small moment, but who make a big change. And it's quite funny.
Significant.
Yeah, exactly. So sometimes to think about that, it's
amazing.
It's crazy,
I wanted to get your thoughts on the French connection of players at every club. So whether it be at Anderlecht, Brentford, at Birmingham, there's always England and Belgium, I suppose, a collection of French-speaking players. Does that help make you feel at home? And do you find yourself gravitating towards the French boys?
Yeah, a lot more. So in Birmingham, the first year we didn't have many. It was
Max?
Just Max. So he wasn't. He was okay, but he wasn't like when I first came to Brentford. It was really good. We were 5 of us,
right?
So you could really tell. So we are really well with all the English, obviously, but to have a little, obviously, we are closer from them. So one of the players is still my really good friend, Johan Barbet from Brentford. So because we are another country, so it's almost like our little family, and so now. It starts so now in Birmingham at the moment we quite have a lot of French speaking with the Sheikh, Jeremy. We have Moose at the moment who is in the trail. So you can definitely say it's a really good thing to have, and it's really good.
Is there much difference between the French and the English? In terms of the culture and how you do things, or what? Because your food isn't as good as ours.
Yeah, no, obviously the food is better.
Say it with a straight face.
I would say like when I first arrived to the country, you arrive in England, you need to respect all the rules that you have here and everything. There is quite some difference. Sometimes it's funny with when I speak with Juki, I say, you are doing this way. I wouldn't think that. So we just compare and it's just different. But you can tell that there is like even with. But I would say not only with the French, like I'm speaking with Skiff sometime and like.
Dutch,
So it's more like all the foreign. We kind of have the same mentality and the English. Like we were talking about the horse racing, about. So we don't have a clue about what's going on. And like Keith today was saying, do you know much about horse racing? I said, not at all, or anything. So the darts, all this stuff.
Darts.
They all like play every day about that. I don't know anything. So it's few things you could tell that it's not the same, but as long as you respect the way how it is, and the people respect as well the people, then we have great time. And I think at the moment it's what's going on at the minute, and in the dressing room it's what we are building a really good relationship with everyone.
Mm-hmm. Lastly, for me, I just wanted to talk about the running. Like you say, last 10 games of the season now. We are in a position where, you find yourself away from the relegation zone enough, but they're not quite close enough to the top 6. Is it just a case of taking it one game at a time, as Pep says, and picking up as many points and just seeing where it takes us come the end of the season?
Yeah, obviously, like we don't want to be safe and then doing nothing. So no, we really push until the end. We want to win every game, and like you said, Villa have been in a run in 10 games, and then they make the playoff. If we win the last 10, we might have a chance. So you never know, but then you might as well lose the 10 and be in the relegation zone. So no, I think it's the best way, and I think even not even the 10 last game. I think the good way for me is to start the season with taking each game after game and giving your best for each game. So yeah, no, we really look forward for this game, and we have an unbeaten run now. We need to carry that the longest way we can.
Mm-hmm. Is Christian Pedersen challenging Maxime Colin for an attacking style fullback in recent weeks? Because it used to be that Max would known as the attacking one, but Peds now
has come over the halfway line.
He's having a look, thinking I can do that as well.
Yeah, no. If you have some stats, and if you look at the fullback who involved in most goals at the moment, Christian and me, we are quite. I think we are the best in the championship in terms of numbers. He scored a bit more goal than me, Christian, but he's going on.
It's a challenge. That
he loves the set piece.
Look at that.
I'm staying back on set pieces, so I can't have a little.
Does it worry you sometimes that we've left just you back and
it's a new way now. It's a new way of. But yeah, no, I'm not sorry. I know that people will come help me, and I will. But yeah, no, we win a lot more second ball around the box this way, and touch wood, we haven't conceded yet a goal from set pieces.
Yeah.
And so yeah, no, hopefully we'll keep going. But yeah, no, Chris and me, we scoring some goal for the team this season. So
he's going to be bombing forward now to get up the scoring charts.
Yeah, he's going to be shooting from the halfway line.
Listen, if you don't try. Listen, Max, before we let you go, a few questions from Twitter. So you're not out the woods just yet. First one, this is from Viva CB, and he says, who are your right-back heroes?
Right-back heroes, I would say Sagnol.
Willy Sagnol?
Yeah, Willy Sagnol, he was really, when I was young, he was really, and Lilian Thuram as well, because he scored the 2 goals in the semi-final for the 1898 World Cup when we won it in France. So yeah, no, it was really the two main fullback.
I think we might have an answer to this one already, but I'll ask it. It's from Az, and he says, if you could play in any other position on the pitch, where would you play?
Left back, done that before.
Yeah, you're thinking about that top goal scorer now.
Yeah, I've done it left back. Maybe a bit up forward in the pitch, and but yeah.
Could you still do a job?
Yeah, I don't know. If you would put me number 10, maybe I can. I could do something, but yeah, it's funny how you see because when I was playing forward, I was shooting a lot more, and I was a lot more technical than I am now. So I've kept, but I'm a lot more physical now that I'm a right back, like the tackling and everything side of it that I didn't have before. But yeah, it's funny how you see just a position change all your ability because you don't train the same and you don't play the same. So yeah, no, I think I'm a fullback for life now.
Tattoo that. Yeah. Couple more. Bluno's Geo says, what's your favourite thing about the city of Birmingham?
Where we live, because now that I have a kid, it's really like London. I wouldn't like to live in London. It's too busy. So I would say it's chill. It's where I live. I can almost every day do a walk with my 3-year-old kid. It's just it's this peaceful that I've got, and then if I want to do stuff, then you go to the city center, and it's really lively, and there is a lot of a good thing in the city center. So I would say that you have both being the chill and
best of both worlds.
Mix. Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. Sean says, apart from at Blues, who's the best player that you've played with? On the spot now.
The best player I would say. But now I've played with Griezmann. At the time, he wasn't as good, so we wouldn't say he was gonna go like.
Where was that, Max? Where did you play with Griezmann?
The World Cup under 20 with the French team. So with Lacazette, Griezmann, Kakuta at the time.
Gael Kakuta at Chelsea.
So Gael Kakuta at the time was the main player. Like, was really amazing. But now when you see Griezmann, like, he's been third, I think, in the world, the Ballon d'Or. So it's crazy to see the way he's done. N'Golo Kante, I've played with as well. When you see he won the World Cup and the big player he became. So, but at the time you wouldn't say at the time. Would say Kakuta, he was the best player. But when you see Griezmann, I would say no.
It's not a bad list of players there, is there? Decent.
Never heard of him. And then this one isn't really a question, but it's from Stu Perry. And he wants to let you know that he's named as Pet Bearded Dragon Maxime Colin. So there you go.
Yeah, nice name.
Thought I'd share that.
Thank you very much. Max, really appreciate your time. Thank you for taking us through your career, and hopefully, we'll get the success whilst you're here.
Yeah, hope so,
The Blues Talk Podcast with Dale Moon and Callum Denning.
Could have been in our dugout as a physiotherapist.
Yeah, I played with Griezmann and all these players he's reading off.
No one anyone's heard of.
I find it really interesting how if you didn't go to a certain sporting school in France, that you're pretty much unknown. So even though he's linking up with France under 20s or a youth development age, they were all turning to each other and going, "Who's this boy right back from the north of France?" Because he
thinks he's a striker.
Yeah, he was unknown. But one of the great things about Maxime Colin is just his pride and professionalism. He's talking about the fact that he's recognised his form hasn't been there in the past couple of months, and when you're carrying out a groin injury that Harley Dean had, it's clearly affected his performance. And what a measure of the man is, he's waited until he's fully fit to tell anyone. Quite easy could come out and make excuses about his performances over the past month or so. I think a lot of people have noticed he's not quite been, all guns blazing, and we've seen that consistency that's synonymous with Maxime Colin hasn't quite been there. But when you think he valued himself at 60% or 40%, like he said at Forest, and still manages to go and play in a winning side, goes to show just the commitment to the cause. I just think he's a consummate professional. He's one of the healthiest. His diet's unbelievable. Always at the front of the running, as we mentioned, and a consistent performer. He's a manager's dream, low maintenance, and a great guy to have on a podcast.
Best right back in the Championship?
Yeah, it's a tough one. Yeah, you've got. Well, if you're going to say no, then you have to name.
Yeah, you've got to back it up.
Yeah, you have to name some that are better. So I'm sure the top teams and leads like Luke Ayling and those at the top will have an answer. But for me, over the course of 2-3 seasons, he's been consistent. 2 seasons.
Particularly hard to argue as well with what he said. Him and Peds as a fullback combination. For my money, certainly, there's not many better in the league.
No, he was pleased with the amount of assists he's getting. Christian Pedersen obviously scoring goals as well, the two of them.
For fun.
Yeah, and they are two very different fullbacks. Christian Pedersen slowly, as we mentioned, getting forward more now. It comes naturally to Maxime Colin. That may well do with his former striking past. But, I can't think of Matty Cash has had a good season.
Yeah.
Matty Cash has had a good season for Forest, even though he's he wasn't actually a winger by trade, dropped in there at fullback. But Max and Peds are right up there.
Right, let's go back to the King Power then, and a first half performance where we didn't look out of place at all.
Yeah, you can see the team sheet, and I think no Jude Bellingham was announced the day before the game.
Yep.
So you knew not to expect him. But then Kerim Arabti back in after a month on the sidelines for injury. I think he's only trained 3 times, so he wasn't sharp anyway. Michael Kiftnbell's first start in the 10.5, nearly 11 months. So a huge ask for him, head on a swivel, chasing around the likes of Maddison. Pratt was impressive on the night, I thought, and Didi as well in the middle of the park. So outnumbered in there. Harley Dean and Jake Clark, Salter, Mark Roberts is on the bench. And absolutely credit to him. Kerim Arabti in particular in that first half was picking up second balls and getting us up the pitch, linking up with Hogan and Lukas Jukovic. Niekamp didn't have a save to make in the first half. And I thought we defended. You have to concede possession. I think at half-time it was like 74% in favour of Leicester. Yet we had 3 or 4.
But you knew to expect that from Leicester.
That's the thing. Like, they're going to have the ball. They are a team who play for the third. Soyuncu steps in and tries to, outnumber you in the middle of the park. But when you think of the chances, Kerem Marabti has a big one where it gets blocked. Christian Pedersen, one drops to him from a set piece. Lukas Jukovic, Scott Hogan, all involved. I mean, we were the team at half time, and you're thinking, you start to believe at that point. 5,000 fans start to believe, and get in at half time, first part of the job's done. Get to the hour mark, you're thinking, right, come on then, can we go and nick it? And the only negative is the manner in which we conceded.
Yeah. Disappointing. Lots of time to get that cross in.
Yeah,
from the byline.
Yeah, the Chilwell part. Gary Gardner just comes on, puts the pressure on him, and Chilwell managed to go down the side, just hugs the touchline, and then Ivan Sunjic tries to take him out. But if you're going to take him out, just do it. Yeah, go and do it. And it is almost like he dangled out a leg to try and trip him, didn't get anywhere near, and then on the other side, wasn't it? Pedersen goes to ground. It's a second attempt of a cross. I mean, Ricardo gets up and
chip it in,
he gets it well and uses all of his body to really just guide it past Lee Camp. But you've defended for 81, 82 minutes so well that the disappointment is that felt like an opportunity missed. But it is not. There's no shame whatsoever in that performance. You've gone to the home of the third place Premier League side who should get Champions League football this year, who were Premier League winners 4 years ago, and given a really good account of yourselves. And I know some supporters feel like, as I've read a lot and spoken to a lot since, we waited to go behind to give it a good go. I do think if we'd have gone toe-to-toe with Leicester, they'd have bopped us off the pitch. Yeah. There's a slick surface. They've got really good technicians. Maddison showed his bits of quality at times. I thought Pratt was so difficult to mark. He moves all around the pitch. Wide areas, bags of pace. If it's not Damari Gray, Harvey Barnes can then get thrown on. You know, if you try and play an expensive game against that sort of team, I think we'd have got picked off. So I appreciate the viewpoint that we waited until the last 10 minutes, but we had to go for it then. And
with fresh legs as well.
Yeah, and we've carved out a chance. Jefferson Montero comes on and puts a cross in, and you think the header that goes up. I thought Lukas Jukovic, you see the big number 10. I'm getting ready for him to power it in, and then it drops to Harley Dean, and then you think, go on, then smash it in, and it gets blocked, and it just wasn't to be in the end. But yeah, give themselves a really good go. And proud of the performance.
Absolutely. It's agonising watching that Dean chance, though. From our viewpoint on the gantry, it was destined for that bottom corner. Kasper Schmeichel, I don't think, is getting to it. Extra time, which looked inevitable until the 82nd minute.
Yeah.
Was calling our name, but
alas. And, it is one of those things, a draw for Chelsea at home, which would have been nice. Just to reach like the latter stages of the FA Cup. A lot of people obviously would love to see this club reach the latter stages and dare to dream to lift the big FA Cup, but one of those things. Well,
you touched on him. Back in the starting lineup, Michael Kieftenbauer after 9 months away.
Unbelievable. I mean, he's gone in there, outnumbered, like I say, Ndidi, Maddison and Pratt buzzing around. The discipline alongside Ivan Sunjic. I mean, there's two better destroyers in there in the league.
Absolutely.
I don't know. But the two of them were really good in terms of, they knew how to slide across the pitch when the ball was being moved. They had their head on a swivel, making sure they starved striker.
Iheanacho.
Very good. It was only last night.
Yeah.
Iheanacho starved him of the ball, forced Leicester around the outside. So Leicester like to play through you with Maddison and nice little interchanges, but didn't allow it. Shut the door on them and forced them out to Chilwell and Ricardo on either flank. And Michael Kieftenbauer covered every blade of grass, put a couple of crunching challenges in. Looked like he'd never been away. So
he's not changed.
Great to see him. And he's another one who can only play that way. He's not going to start dictating play from deep. He won't get on it and start spraying passes. It's not his role. It's not what he's good at.
We know what he does. Yeah, the fans love it.
Yeah, he saw a couple of those Michael Kieftenbauer challenges last night, which always raise the crowd, doesn't it? So.
And the players walking off as well to his name being sung. Yeah. Leicester helping us out there with their PA system.
Yeah.
Now, if you want to see more of Michael Kieftenbauer, very exciting. Coming to Blues TV today as we speak. Feels like it should be in a cinema, doesn't it? I think first in, hopefully, a long line of Blues TV documentaries, Kieftenbeld.
Yeah. This has been a good little project for all of us, I think.
On the slide for a couple of months.
I think, at Blues TV. Because, obviously, Michael Kieftenbeld's a lengthy absence for him, and we know he's a fan favourite. And I think it was good just to document all the hard work that goes on behind the scenes, all the staff, the support that the club have given Michael Kieftenbeld, but also what happens when nobody's watching. Michael Kieftenbeld has had 9 months in the darkness, really, with the exception of the last month or so, 23's games. And just to document, operation straight after the tackle itself, immediate response from from Pete Shaw, Dave Hunt, and then the long slog, the arduous hours and hours, days, weeks and months in the gym when all your teammates are going out playing, how that's affected a player like Michael Clifton-Belt. Great work from you lads at Blues TV. I feel a bit weird saying that.
I was about to say,
Great
odd.
work from you boys at Blues TV, and Joe Pickering's taking a bit of a creative lead on it.
Buzzing.
Yeah, and just good to do a long-form documentary-style piece. Amazon Prime's been thrown in there, a bit of Netflix
I've heard
style.
Netflix a few times.
Yeah. But good to do that style, in-depth, going behind the scenes a little bit, speaking to the people that matter, and showing a player who's gone through one of the career-threatening injuries to now finally returning to the first team. And Michael Clifton-Bell's such an animated character. Like when he thinks about things, it's projected in his face, so you can see him beaming, like glowing when he starts to think about being back. It's great to see, and I hope supporters like it.
I think the video as well is testament to the man, isn't it? His character, the way he's dealt with this recovery. Of course, we had him on the podcast. Would have been last May now, wouldn't it?
Before he went to Holland.
Just before he went to Holland. So very, very early stages of rehab.
Yeah.
We got the kind of way he was thinking beforehand, how he expected it to go, what his kind of outlook was, and now. So you caught up with him in the video in the latter stages, just before he returned to 23's football.
Yeah.
And just seeing how that mindset hasn't changed. He's always been focused on doing what was right for his knee, doing what was right to just get back to full fitness.
Yeah, and there's a real it's like there's a modest aspect to Michael Clifton-Belt where he says, I don't want to keep talking about, everyone's asking me how my knee, and I really appreciate everybody asking how you're doing, but I want to get back and help the team out. And I think it just typifies him as a character. And you see that on the pitch, don't you? He's just all for the cause. There's not a selfish bone in his body. And with saying that, he said, I wanted my recovery to actually be all about me. So actually, he wanted to do everything that was right to get him back out onto the pitch.
To benefit the team.
Yeah, just to get himself back out there. But you talk to, we hear from Sean Rush, and he comes out with some great sound bites about Keith in his very brash, northern, hard man style.
Hard as nails.
Yeah. He's very sort of military fitness man, isn't he, Sean Rush?
So he told us he's trained Charles Bronson.
He's mixed it with the best and the worst in his profession. But he comes out with some great stuff, and they all talk about how positive he's been and how actually, they spend a lot of time with each other. There hasn't been much friction. He's been quite easy to deal with, and even mentally, I think he's coped with it as well. He's taken a step back from football, and like he says, he's been playing football since he was able to kick a ball, able to walk. So for him to be out of the game for so long, it's just giving him a different perspective on things, and now he can hopefully kick on again. And just great to see someone who, you don't begrudge a player of a career that he's had because of what he's like. He's a smashing bloke.
Available to Blues TV subscribers exclusively until next Friday. Listen, if you don't already have a subscription, get one for this. It's worth a watch. Be up on YouTube and Blues TV in a week's time, but you're going to want to see this now, I think. Big changes, though, at Blues Women. Marta Tejedor has party company, mutual terms with the club.
Yeah, I think Blues Women had just dropped into a precarious position, hadn't they? A result against Bristol didn't go their way, and they were looking at it, obviously, a real relegation battle on their hands, still find themselves in a real dogfight, and our hierarchy have obviously decided to make the decision. So, bit of a change at the helm, and Charlie Baxter was assistant with Mark Skinner and
been at the club for years.
With Marta as well, who knows the development side of things as well, with the young girls coming up, and knows the club really well. And now it's up to him, really, as at least initially on an interim basis, to try and get the girls just confidence back into the group. Because when you are down there and you're not getting results, obviously good players lose confidence, and there's enough quality in there to get Blues out of it. But clearly, results haven't been going as expected. So hopefully Charlie will go in and do a good job, lift everything, lift the mood, get all the girls sort of in a united front, get them all together, and start to just turn results a little bit.
Yeah, 2.5 massive months coming up in the FA WSL. But listen, massive moment for Charlie Baxter, given the role of interim head coach for Blues Women, but then had to sit down with you and take on the quickfire questions.
Yeah, wasn't quite a grilling that he'll get from the media, but a few nice answers. Very eloquent, Charlie Baxter, so a few interesting answers in there.
The Blues Talk Podcast.
Okay, well, I'm here with Charlie Baxter, interim head coach of Blues Women, and you are our latest victim of Quickfire, Charlie, so apologies before we start. Nice, easy question to start off with. What music do you listen to get you in the mood for a match day?
Oh, that's a great question. I'd probably say, sometimes I like to think, people will probably disagree with me, I like to think myself a bit of a music connoisseur.
Okay.
I like a bit of everything, to be honest. I think the main thing about music for me is if it's got a beat that I can sort of get into, then I'm very happy with whatever it is, really. Whether it's Rihanna, Drake, whether it's a bit of 1975, I'm happy with a lot of music.
Decent wide range. Favourite restaurant to eat at?
Again, good question. I'd probably say Wagamama's.
Yeah, it's been a frequent answer on this podcast. Yeah. What was your karaoke song or initiation song?
Here.
You can choose one. I'll tell you what. Your karaoke song, if you had to choose one, and what
you just testing the memory there. So my initiation song here at FA Cup final was Frank Sinatra, Did It My Way.
Class, gone big. Went big early doors. Have you got a middle name?
Peter, which is my dad's name, so fairly standard.
Yeah. It's not going to get you bullied, you're fine. Yeah. Favourite TV series?
I think The Wire.
Good.
The Wire or Suits.
Yeah, both. Suits has been on this before. Okay, what do you order from a coffee shop? Any variants? We've had different milks, we've had different syrups, we've had all sorts.
I think I've only recently just joined the coffee scene, so I'm quite standard with what I do. I'd probably say a flat white or cortado from Costa are my typical orders.
Yeah. Oh, that's very standard. Yeah. Have you got a sporting hero and have you met them?
I do have a sporting hero. I have not met them, and the late great Kobe Bryant was one of my biggest sporting heroes. Also Dwayne Wade. I'm a big fan of NBA basketball because I think the athletes and the characters that you find within that sport are just really, really inspiring.
Yeah, interesting, because the next question, American sports, baseball, NFL, NBA, do you follow any particular teams or do you not care for any of it?
Yeah, so I kind of have a sport team that I follow for NFL and NBA. My NBA team is Miami Heat because of Dwayne Wade, so I follow them quite religiously. I'd probably say my NFL team, I have some friends out in America that a few people would say I should be a Cincinnati Bengals fan. Other people should say I'd be a Kansas City Chiefs fan. I'd probably say, because I'm a big Patrick Mahomes fan, Chiefs probably win it for me at the moment. Yeah.
It helps the form they're in as well, doesn't it? Okay, favourite cheat meal. So, you don't fancy being too healthy today. What are you going to go and eat?
I think it's just a pizza, to be honest, because you can just be so creative with it, can't you? Yeah. It's really simple. You don't have to really do much cooking, and you can, depending on what mood you're in, you can put what toppings you want on it.
Yeah. Favourite pizza topping, or what type of pizza would you go for?
Or if I had my choice, it would probably be, again, I'll pick one from a restaurant that I quite like. If I'm feeling particularly naughty, I'd probably say a Pizza Hut stuffed crust with just ham and extra cheese on it.
It's just a timeless classic. Yeah. Perfect. Favourite holiday destination?
That's a really good question. Recently, I'd probably say Barcelona. Yeah.
What did you go dressed as to your last fancy dress party?
Oh, you're really testing my memory there. I think...
Well, what have you ever gone dressed as to any fancy dress party?
Okay, I think... Yeah, the last one I went to was I was probably dressed as Caesar, in a Roman tunic. Yeah.
Decent.
Kind of standard.
That's a first, new entry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Which Hollywood actor would you choose to play yourself in a movie about your life?
Oh, that's a tough question. So many. Benedict Cumberbatch, probably.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. That is another new entry. We've had a bit of Leo, Leonardo DiCaprio, we've had Brad Pitt, we've had Denzel Washington a few times, but Benedict Cumberbatch is a new one. Favourite flavour ice cream?
Oh, can you have two flavours together?
We'll let you hybrid and we'll let you mix
vanilla and chocolate.
Okay. Do you have any tattoos?
No.
Okay. Do you plan to have any?
It depends on what my partner says.
What you're allowed. Yeah. What type of student were you at school?
I think at secondary school I thought myself a bit of a a class clown, but I think by the time I got to college and went on to study in higher education, I knuckled down and actually became the class geek.
One extreme to another.
Yeah, it really did. I certainly enjoyed my latter years of education rather than my formative.
Yeah, good. Okay, last few. What's on your bucket list?
Oh, I'm a massive sports fan, and there are a lot of sports teams and sporting icons I'd like to see play live. I'm lucky enough that I've seen Lionel Messi play and Cristiano Ronaldo play. I think LeBron James is on my bucket list to go and see him play an NBA game. Again, Patrick Mahomes an NFL game would be pretty impressive. I wouldn't say I'm a huge golf fan, but seeing Tiger Woods play would be pretty cool. In terms of like destinations, I think I need to explore the world a little bit more. I'd like to maybe do a road trip along the west coast of America.
Amazing.
That would be good.
Yeah, one for the summer maybe. Okay, a couple left. Okay, the biggest question and probably the most important question I'll ask you ever. The best way to eat chicken. Okay, so what part of the chicken, first of all, is it a breast, wing, thigh? Yeah. What sort of part of the chicken, and how is it marinated or how is it spiced? How do you like your chicken?
Okay, good question. I think the best way to describe this one in a way that everybody can relate to, unless you don't like it, of course, is Nando's. And my typical order in a Nando's would be a medium butterfly chicken. So breast, no bone, get the sauce all over it, make sure it's succulent when you bite into it.
Nice.
Done.
Job done. Final two questions. What are your thoughts on fishing? Not fishing, industrial fishing, people who choose to spend their free time sitting next to a lake fishing.
I think it's something I aspire to do when I'm older, certainly, because it looks so relaxing.
Yeah.
Until the moment you actually have to pull one out of the water.
And you sprung into
life.
Yeah.
So, I could get into that. I think something I will do when I'm older.
Final question. Have you ever read a book cover to cover? And if many, what's your one that sticks out that you read from front to back and is sort of your go-to book?
Again, good question. I am quite an avid reader. I do like an autobiography. I'll probably say the best one of the best ones I've ever read was a book called I Haven't Learnt Until You've Taught Them by John Wooden, who's a famous college basketball coach out in America. I think the wisdom and me being so passionate about my craft as in coaching was really related with me. A lot of golden nuggets in there. You really got a feel for what the man was like and how he operated and how prestigious his name is within the sort of coaching community. So I definitely read that again. I think if it's a more light-hearted one where you get a little tickle out of reading it, I'm an Arsenal fan because I was born in Essex originally. Romford Pele about Ray Parlour. I couldn't stop laughing. It's a great book for that. So those would be my two, I think.
Brilliant. Charlie Baxter, thank you very much.
The Blues Talk Podcast with Dale Moon and Callum Denning.
Charlie Baxter with the baptism of fire on the Quickfire Questions. But big couple of games coming up for Blues men as well. And I'll put a disclaimer in here before we talk about tomorrow's game. These are my better half's team. So she's going to stop listening now because I'm about to go on a bit of a tirade.
Yeah.
Listen, Reading at home. We discussed this last year. I'm not sure.
What you got against the Royals, Cal? What is it?
On a personal, I used to work at the Medacy, so I spent more time one season there than I did here, despite having a season ticket. So I think that kind of soured me a little bit. They're a bit QPR, aren't they? They're just a carbon copy. I'm sure they're a great club.
Yeah, no, for me, Reading are just a bit of like a hollow.
Yeah.
I don't feel... Have they got a rival?
Oxford.
Well, there we go then. Yeah, for me, tricky though, because, Reading are obviously a team who we've got a result against at their place. I think for the first half...
One of our
most of the game, actually.
Yeah,
for most of the game, we were bang at it. But, since then, they've been a bit hit and miss around us in the table, aren't they? I think we're only a couple of points above them in the Championship. So they'll feel like they're still not quite out of it just yet. They'll want to pick up a few more wins.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Morrison, done us a favour.
Fan of the podcast.
Done us a favour at the Majewski. We'll be back. But yeah, I mean, this is a chance off the back of a few draws in the league for us to have a real good go and try and get a win. Be nice. We've been talking about an unbeaten run. Let's get back to winning ways on Saturday. That'll be good. Let's take the game to Reading. I know we've had a midweek game against Leicester and a lot of hard yards put in, but one or two bodies could come back into the side just to freshen us up again. So the benefit of them making changes at Leicester will hopefully be seen on Saturday against Reading. Let's go out, really give it a good go, stick it on Reading early on, start quick, set the intensity, set a good tempo, try and win the game.
Replicate the game at the Medeski. Good to have Michael Morrison back, by the way. The only player who last season, if we'd done our sarcastic, we know you're a big fan of the podcast. We've gone, yeah, actually.
I am, yeah. You know what? I haven't got a bad word to say about it. Was a great leader here. Man. Great captain as well. Real part of the dressing room. Brilliant to talk to off the pitch. Would always do a media duty, which helps me out personally, no matter whether we got zipped by 5 or whether we won and he scored. But, yeah, obviously chipped in a lot last year. Wasn't, for whatever reason, the club made the decision not to keep him here. And I wish him the best of luck after Saturday.
Just watch him at corners. That's the only thing for Saturday. Yeah. Can't have him bagging another. And then, big local derby. We're off to the Hawthorns. Nice midday Saturday kickoff. We all love them.
Yeah, obviously they are gunning for that top spot, aren't they? There's a bit of a buffer between themselves and third now. Lead sandwich between them. I think they are probably the most consistent and best team on their day in the division. The quality around there, Diangana, Pereira, Sawyers, Livermore, Austin done us here, and yet Charlie Austin's not been a key figure for them this season.
You bring him off the bench. Unbelievable.
Yeah, they've got quality in their side, and then you bring in Grosicki and Robinson in the January transfer window, and I mean Slaven Bilic has got some weapons at his disposal, but you still got to get them to play, and they play good stuff at times, but we gave them a right run for their money here. I'd love us to go there and get a result. It is a bit of a local derby, though it's not the derby for both teams.
Oh, yeah.
Early kick-off, so supporters are going to have to start a bit earlier, but there we go.
Looking forward to it. The match, not the starting a bit earlier.
Yeah,
we're working. Professional.
Yeah.
Right, well, hopefully, when we're back, again, knock on wood, in 2 weeks' time, still unbeaten. That's the aim.
Yeah, it'd be good, won't it? I know it's obviously that 13-game stretch comes to an end at Leicester, but in terms of league form,
where it matters.
Yeah. I mean, you'd look at it, you take 4 points.
Yeah.
Go and beat Reading, then it sets it up nicely to express yourself against West Bromwich Albion. I mean, a win against Reading then really does put you in a nice position in terms of where we are from the bottom 3. But there's nothing to say the bottom 3 could all win on Saturday, because it's just been, I mean, Barnsley, I know they lost their last one, but there was 3 clean sheets, 3 wins on the spin ahead of that. Wigan have turned into, some top 6 form side.
The Northwest Barcelona.
Yeah, and even Luton are scrapping for their lives at home. They'll fancy picking up points. So I have no idea how it's going to, there's teams on the slide. Hull City are getting dragged in. Middlesbrough are getting dangerously
Middlesbrough are in the relegation zone now as we speak.
So, the bottom 3 have absolutely kicked on. So we need to make sure we just tick along nicely. And I am backing the boys for a big 3 points on Saturday.
Up the Blues.
Up the
Blues. Don't swear.
Blues.
Don't swear. Right, until then.
Up the ducking Blues.
That'll do. This has been the Blues Talk Podcast. I've been Callum Denning.
And I've been Dale Moon.
We'll see you in 2 weeks' time.
The Blues Talk Podcast with Dale Moon and Callum Denning.